Hello. In today's video, I'm going to discuss the most recent update to the DCA and Analyzer modules. Now I've picked ADA for the opening chart, so let's load up some simple modules to demonstrate this new and advanced feature. While this is loading and I'm getting all the basic setup out of the way, I must emphasize the extreme amount of caution that you need to take with this update. It takes the DCA module to the next level. It gives you the ability to never have to worry about being channel locked. But there is a price. If your recipe is not spot on and precise, it could very easily accumulate 2,000 or 3,000 of positions, because it does away with all of the rules except one. For the purposes of this, I'm going to use the recovery recipe I talked about previously. Now, this is really all we need to worry about. You can go through the process and set it up if you want, and I'll do that for posterity's sake. But really, for the purposes of the demonstration, it's not really necessary. All of the action happens here. Now here we have the standard classic approach. Red line is deviation, blue line is the average, green line is the take profit. For right now, I'm going to disable the average being visible. I'm just going to make it invisible. So here you have 20% profit, 22 trades, 8 maximum. Now, the big problem the DCA module has is it can become channel locked. As you see from July all the way up through here, this is one big channel. But you've noticed for the same period, there are plenty of purchases. So that's where this next special feature comes in. And it must occur for both the initial and the final. They both must be set to 0. When both the initial and the final deviation are set to 0, notice the deviation line disappears. And notice your maximum number of purchases per cycle skyrockets to 244. We're not done, because this same unique ability also occurs with take profit. And this gives the DCA module the ultimate organic dollar cost averaging mechanism. Anything below the average is a purchase. Anything above the average is a sell. 244 per one cycle. Let's see if we can find out which one that is. As you can see, this can be both extremely powerful and brutally aggressive. And here we go. Here is the cycle that broke the camel's back. So that would be roughly $2,500 that you're looking at. Now the percentage, I think it was 16%. So let's just say 10% for easy rounding. That's a $250 payday. But that is very expensive. What happens if we put an exit position on this? I don't want to go above 10 positions. Okay, we have an exit position. We have an exit position. What does it do to my profit? Okay, so it's still making 6% profit, even with the insanity of the exits that has taken place. So 107 trades, organic 6% profit. That is not bad. That's actually very good, and especially with only $100 for your limit. So anything above the average is a selling point. Anything below the average is a buying point with this special mode. Now this is an extreme situation. Your recipe is critical. Do not underscore how important it is for you to take your time with your recipe. And this average is pure organic based upon the recipe. Because when you are in this state, no matter what you pick here, it always defaults to strategy, no matter what. DCA is completely ignored. Now, if you take profit, then as soon as the profit takes place, as soon as the marker gets above here, it sells. And you'll see it went down drastically to 3%. But 50 trades, that's still 150% profit of your position size. And notice how much it reduced the maximum positions per cycle. So this is a powerful and remarkable tool. Be sure you take your time studying it, because it can be brutal. This is, as I said, the best approach to a strategy-driven system. Now, step and price method are completely ignored. They are meaningless here, except for the cosmetics of the diagnostics information. Same thing with aggressive and defensive. Only point it has is strictly the diagnostics visual points. So as you can see, even with limits, an organic recipe can still bring in a huge profit if it is a good recipe. And Kraken is not known to have a lot of volume at times. So let's go take a look at an exchange with a different volume level. Now, as I said, these are organic profits. And let's go ahead and disable the exit point just so you can see just how aggressive this process can be, which can be good if you want huge profit. If you're looking for a straight line profit system, this can bring home a huge amount. Average of 10% for $1,100, that's $110 average profit. Now you multiply 10% by your trade cycles. This is bringing in 470% of your initial investment. So if your initial investment is $11, I'm going to say 10 just for the sake of easy math, you're looking at $470 profit for the duration of this recipe if you've planned properly. If you haven't planned properly, it will wreck your portfolio. Now, I've already posted a few recipes in the Jackrabbit settings area that have been updated to use this new format. Test, test, test. And even if you've tested, go back and do it again. This can be a mess, a menace, and wreck you if you're not prepared for the pure organic nature this exists in. While this looks like the golden parachute of profit, it is not. It is only as good as your recipes. If your recipes aren't good, then neither will this be good. It can be quite the disappointment if you don't prepare your recipe. Now here is a classic knife catcher with a MACD confirmation. Let's zoom this in, that's not what I want, and spread this out a little. Now, as you can see, the time frame for this one is 4 hours. It does 4% and only does one single position per trade, but it did 9 trades. So that's really pretty good considering. But as you see, the duration on April, May, June, July, 4 months for the trades. And as you can see, it can be quite a while. Here it purchased, here it sold. Almost, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 8.5 months for this one transaction. Now, the fact that this went from 10,000 to 60,000 is a 600% return. But look at the duration it took. So not every coin is going to be a winner, or it'll be a winner at a price. When you're dealing with organic dollar cost averaging, it takes the whole approach of duration to a new complicated level. You really don't know how long it's going to take. If the recipe is stable, it could only take a very short period, or it could take months or even a year to build up. There are a lot of different circumstances, and you can go overboard on the aggression and overboard on the defensiveness. This is about balance in every way imaginable, and that is important to understand. You must have balance. For example, let's go back to my workspace. And let's take a very simple approach. Let's put the dollar cost averaging module back up and tune it appropriately. Now we're going to move it to the main chart, go through all of the basic setups. Then I'm going to bring up a very classic approach. This is usually where most people begin trading. The standard crossover. It's simple and elegant, and it has some very interesting characteristics. But does it do well on a pure organic basis? That's the big question. Now I'm not going to make any changes with this crossover. I'm going to leave it at all the default settings. And from there, you can truly see, is this truly an organic approach that is worth investing in? Okay. Now, let's get this zoomed out. Okay, let's also take this down to a smaller level. Okay, let's reduce the noise. Okay, you see it has maximum of 9, total of 19, but it channel locks very easily. 3 trades for a 2%. Now let's move to the organic deviation. Let's make deviation 0. Get rid of all the rules. And we just jumped to 57 positions. Now let's make the selling organic as possible and get rid of all those rules. And here you have an incredibly powerful tool. Let's turn off the average. Or at least make it invisible, which is really what this does. So 22 trades in a 3-minute period, but its organic percentage is only 1.15%. That's what this combination is capable of if left purely on its own with very basic rules of only sell with a profit. And you can see you would need a minimum $1,000 budget. Actually more than that, about $1,100. 51 maximum positions. Now let's see what happens if we introduce an exit breaker to bring this under control. Let's go. I'm going to go with a $300 budget, 11 positions. Let's go with 25 positions. And now let's see whether or not. Okay, as you can see, the profit dropped even more. So if you try to make this process controllable, it does more harm than good. Now, of course, there are other things we can do. Let's turn this off. Reset the chart. And let's go make some changes to the moving averages themselves. Okay, let's move this to an SSMA. And let's move this to a weighted moving average. Well, that didn't do any better. That is actually worse. Okay, so let's try a larger time frame. Oh, let's go with 73 here. And let's go with 237 here. Let's see if we can stretch it out. Well, now that brought it under control. Let's drop this back down where we can see it. Now that's reasonable, but it's still only a 1% profit. So using this approach, everything relies on the recipe. I cannot emphasize this enough. Your recipe is your driving force for your profit. The better it is, the better your profit. And better doesn't mean necessarily more modules. It means carefully picking the right coin, carefully picking the right combinations, and carefully tuning it. For most exchanges, this is a very reasonable approach, and a $300 budget is something that is livable with. If you really wanted to add the safety and the padding using the golden equation, this would be a $600 budget with an $11 position size. Is it the best way to use your resources? Probably not. But does it work? Yes. Would this be better with other combinations like RSI and better combinations, or even a momentum level to ensure that you're not engaging in whipsaw? Quite possibly. But as you can see, for the most part, it does do fairly well, but it does have its runs. Now remember what I said about the rules and why these don't qualify. These don't qualify because it's not driven by the strategy. Now, could you set a simple take profit? Yes, you could. And that would have its own ramifications. So as you see, setting a take profit does work. It gets you out quicker. It lowers your threshold, but it also devastates your percentages. This approach would only work on Binance. No other exchange would support this. So you need to be aware of all of those facets as you set your trading up. Your exchange matters. Your fees matter. And it still doesn't protect you from long runs. So as you work with this system, be sure to always look at every aspect of each and every coin. Organic processes can be difficult, but they can be rewarding if you have the right choices. Hopefully you found this video explanatory enough for the new process. It does take a little bit of time getting used to the fact that there's no deviation and no channel locking. That is a blessing all the way around, not having to worry about a channel lock. Of course, the downside is huge accumulations could occur. But those accumulations are controllable. Very controllable. How you control them is really up to you. As you can see, your combinations drive everything. These one-hit wonders can do very well, but they are still accumulation-based, so don't underestimate any market condition. As you can see, they can still pull up accumulations. Now this one is using a simple take profit, but it's using the new system for the deviation. So you can use the combination of both. Please be sure to leave any comments if you have any questions, or of course leave them in the Jackrabbit support server. Until next time.